Hello and welcome. My name is Kay, and I like to tell stories. Mostly they will be true stories, though I might embellish from time to time just to make it funny. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my time that I spent in Texas, living there for 2.5 years. It was awesome. It was a great state to live in. I would totally go back there again. I would. In the late 90s, I moved there with my other, and my child was born down there. He's technically a Texan, which I do like to remind him about from time to time. When he gets cocky, I'll be like, yeah, you're a Texan. Did you forget? We were looking for a place to live, and we found this really nice area just outside of town. It's a smaller town in Texas, but it was still pretty civilized, right? So we started looking at this one place, which at one time had been a ranch. But the lady who owned it was working it on her own since her husband had died. She still had a few cattle around, not very many. There she had a grouping of mobile homes. And we were looking at one of them, and it would work out okay for us for a starter house or home. And we liked it just fine out there. It was quiet, and it was really, really, really chill. And the lady who owned it was just so awesome and nice and sweet and all of those things. She was like a Martian in a way, because I came from the Midwest where everything is fast, super fast. Horns honking, hurry up, people yelling at cashiers, come on, come on, come on, I gotta go wherever. So this was a nice change of pace, pretty chill. And we were there for a few years until we moved into the small town a little bit later in my son's infancy. One of the creatures that we would see around that I had never seen before, being that I had come from the Midwest, were armadillos. And those are really friendly little animals. They don't bother you any. They don't do anything except for the lawn. Now they'll get in there and pull up the grass in order to find the grubs, and then they eat those. I would hear little noises outside of the window, and it would be a persistent noise. What is out there that's making this scratching noise? I would look out the window and see an armadillo. I would observe them. They were so cute, and they don't bite or anything like that. There wasn't any fear of them coming at you, but I would go out and try to chase it off because the lady did not really like the armadillos messing with her little garden or the grass. And one time I was pushing my son in the stroller, and I saw this armadillo perfectly still, and he was lying on its side, and I'm like, wonder what's going on. I got up closer to look at it and could see this bullet hole in its head. Yeah, she was a good shot. While they don't really bother anything, she just didn't care for them. But I got a good look at the armadillo. They do tend to ball up if they get afraid. And it was nice just to see one. Unfortunately, it was dead. But yeah, they were really cool animals. You know, you have coyotes and other animals down there. It's something that we just didn't have up in the Midwest. She was just so nice and thoughtful, the landlady, that one time we were doing the laundry. She didn't have an actual laundry room or anything like that. Wasn't that sophisticated. But she did have a washer and dryer out on her back porch, and you were welcome to use it. You just put the money down on there, and she would know someone did a load. So I put it in the washer. We had all these clotheslines, and normally you could just use those. That's nice. It's free. You don't need to spend money on drying your clothes in a dryer when you've got all this beautiful sunshine. I went up there to get my load after it finished washing and didn't see it in the washer. The lady stuck her head through the back porch door and said, "Oh, I put those in the dryer." She said, "There's no way they're going to dry today." I just thought, who would do that in the Midwest where I came from? But it was really sweet of her. But I just wanted to give some examples here of how nice she was. After we were there for a while, we wanted to move into a different mobile home that the people were moving out of. So we arranged that, and there was also another couple. I believe they were also getting ready to have a baby. They wanted to move into ours. We were moving into another one. Well, the people that were moving out down on the end never got done all day long. We're waiting, starting to drag totes of things down so that it's a little bit faster. After it got dark, they finally were out of there. Everyone swooped in and just started moving our stuff for us and helping us. Also, washing the dishes, putting them away, wiping down the cupboards. I'd never seen anything like that before. But that just goes to show you how awesome Texans are. Once we moved into the small town, my other and I were walking with the stroller with our son, who was still pretty young. We walked up the street towards his friends, waved at his mother, and then she came out and started talking to us and was asking us, "What are you doing to celebrate Thanksgiving?" Well, we didn't really have any money. We weren't getting a turkey, or certainly not. We couldn't afford that. And then she found out we weren't really doing anything for a meal, so she insisted that we come in and that we eat Thanksgiving with her. It was the craziest thing. We can't do that. And I'm just looking at my other going, I said, "No, come in, come in." And we went inside. We sat down and she's bringing us things to eat. And she's just sweet as pie. And I couldn't believe it, how nice she was. But I will never forget that particular Thanksgiving. Because of how generous she was. She saw that being broke, having a little one, couldn't afford anything, and had us in. His friend did show up and they went to talking, and I tried to talk to the lady, but she didn't know a lot of English, but she was really sweet. Now, my other did know Spanish. However, that Spanish is not the same as the Mexican Spanish. They speak a Tex-Mex sort of thing. So there's only a few words that would be the same. But it was really interesting that he had taken all of those courses on Spanish only not to be able to understand people when we lived in Texas. Kind of a shame. It was a very nice experience living in Texas, except for one in particular that I could think of that went pretty wrong. As we were still living in the mobile home park on the ranch, my other had left to go to work. I put my son on a blanket on the floor and I went to take a shower. Well, I hear voice talking to me. I stuck my head out of the curtain to see what he had forgotten, and it wasn't my other. It was a man I hadn't seen before, and I was just paralyzed with fear. I closed the shower door as if that's actually going to protect me. The guy was asking if the cable guy had come, and I said, "I don't know." And he just kept asking about that. And finally, I took a chance and I said, "I don't know anything about the cable guy. Can you please leave?" And he said, "Okay." Then I didn't see him when I peeked my head out and I'm utterly frozen. I don't even know what to do. But I remembered that my son was on the floor on a blanket. He was about 2 or 3 months old was all. I said, "Oh my God." And I grabbed a towel and went out because I had to go out. I had to go out to see to him. If the guy's still in there, then I'm toast. I don't know what's happening here. But I picked him up. The guy was no longer in there. I am freaking out and wishing that my other hadn't just left when he did. All of a sudden, the phone rang. I picked it up, and it was one of the other ladies that was a friend of mine in the mobile home park. And I said, "You'll never believe what just happened to me. This guy just walked in," and they go, "Yeah, he's the husband of so-and-so. She was down a few mobile homes from me." And saying that he'd had a brain injury and was not all there, that his wife had gone to work, and that the cable guy was coming. And that's what brought him outside to wander around. Ours wasn't the only mobile home that he came into. A friend of mine across the way, her sister was over eating lunch because she worked right by there. All of a sudden, the door whipped open on her, and she's looking up, "What?" And the guy starts asking her about the cable. And she said, I don't know anything. And finally, she had to say the same thing. I don't know. I'm just eating lunch. Can you please go?" And he did. I mean, he wasn't violent but Jesus, I was in the shower. Literally, it was crazy. So that's what it was. The guy wasn't all there. You have to say, not really completely his fault. Doesn't seem to know what's appropriate anymore. The guy's wife was called at work and she came home immediately. And within 3 days, they had packed up and left because she was going to have to quit her job to stay with them full time because she didn't know what he would be doing. And it's through no fault of his or hers. She was there every night. She was just trying to make a living. So I didn't really blame it, but I did mention to my friend that, well, the problem is I try to lock the door, but the door doesn't really want to stay locked. So she came over with a friend, a guy, I didn't know him, with a lock in a bag. And she goes, "We're putting a lock on for you." And I'm like, "Okay, thank you." So that problem was solved. When the next paycheck came, we then paid her back for it. But I was really thankful. It just feels like everybody around had your back. And it was just a wonderful state to be in. I highly encourage you, if you're thinking about Texas, go ahead. I was in the very, very southern part of Texas. Also, going to Corpus Christi was just beautiful. Go to the beach. South Padre Island was just lovely. We would go there every once in a while, and just the peace and tranquility of chill people on the beach who aren't right next to you, like you see in California where there's people everywhere. No, it was really, really nice. But I thank you so much for listening. Take care until next time. I know I'll have more stories. Drop me a like if you enjoyed what you heard. Feel free to subscribe if you would like to. Thank you very much for listening.